So in this tutorial, we're going to go over how to create a sliding menu. Okay, so essentially what we're creating will be this right here. So the actual view gets kind of moves off to the side, and then you can just open that back up. All right. And I like the second piece that I really like about this is actually the way once it gets here, it actually moves vertically to finish clearing or finish filling it up. So if you look again, you'll see that right there. Okay. So let's go ahead and start a new project. Okay. And so we will create a single view app. Call this code tutorial underscore sliding menu. Okay, and we'll put it on the desktop. Code tutorial underscore sliding menu. I meant to do that inside the desktop, so there we go. Okay, go ahead and create that. And then let's look at the different pieces of it, okay? So the first thing I need to do is I need to actually create a sliding menu view. So I'm going to create a new file here. I like to do it over here. So just click on a file at the hierarchy level that I want to use. So new file. Okay, this will be sliding menu view. Okay. And so get rid of that on that side. Let's look at what we need to do. So the first thing we need to do really is we need to create a new view that will hold the underlying sliding menu. We just took care of that. Next thing I need to do is add the new structure, okay? So I'm going to create a new structure, and the new structure is going to have just a few components, okay? I'm going to try to write it from scratch. Everything we do from scratch, but I have it here in case we need it. So struct menu button, okay? It'll be of type identifiable. And so first thing we need is var ID is equal to UUID, okay? And then we'll do var text will be of type string. We won't give it a definite value yet. Var SF symbol will be of type string as well. And lastly, we will have var action. Okay, and this one is the funnest because we're actually going to be passing this right here. Okay, so we're passing almost like a function with no return as the actual type. So that's what it's going to be, and you'll see how we're going to use that. Okay, so we're saying it's a function that takes in no parameters and returns nothing out. Okay, and now I went ahead and created my own sample buttons, okay, and then you can kind of create your own, so I'll show you how to create your own, but I'll also bring mine over. So I'll go over to content view, okay, and inside of content view, but above var body, okay, I'm going to make it look like this. I'm going to say let buttons equal, and then open up an array, okay, and then what I'll do is I'll say menu button. And then I will use this, don't use the one with ID, okay? And just create what you want. Maybe a text that says, a text of the button that says whatever. For the SF symbol, you're going to need to go to SF symbols and pick some of your favorite SF symbols. Okay, you can also just copy the ones I chose. Okay, I'm going to paste mine in here in a second. And then for action, you can just put a curly bracket and you can make it do anything. You can say print potato, okay? Now mine are going to look like this. These are my buttons that I took the time to create in advance. Okay, so I'm going to pick a saved button. It looks like a bookmark. An edit profile for a pencil.circle. Settings, which is a gear. Discover, which is a star. Contacts, which will look like a quote bubble. And sign out, which will just arbitrarily look like the square with the left half filled. So that'll be mine. Okay, and then we need a variable essentially that will control whether or not this menu is shown. So the way we're going to do that is I'm going to fold up this code by clicking Command Option left, and then I will come here and say at state var menu shown is equal to false. Okay, and then now I need to create the contents of the content view. So what I'm going to do is this sliding menu will it's not the menu that will slide, but rather the view that you're viewing, which will slide on top of it. So I'm going to have to stack them in the Z dimension, and I'll put a sliding menu view in the background, okay? And what I will put on top is, it could be anything. You could put any view you want. I could just put a color, okay? But what I'm going to put is a Z-stack because I had something I wanted specifically. What I would recommend doing is almost creating the view that you want and then putting the sliding menu underneath it after the fact. Just putting the entire thing in a Z-stack and then putting the sliding menu in its place. So actually, let's go ahead and do that. Let's do that since that's what I recommend. Let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to create the Z-stack, okay? And inside that Z-stack, I'm going to have a couple different pieces. I'm going to have the color white, okay? So color.white.edges ignoring, and I'm going to ignore all the edges, okay? Because I'm also going to introduce something that's really big here that I really liked. And I know I have a z-stack and a z-stack right now, but you'll see why, okay? So when you look at this inner z-stack, just forget about the fact that the inner z-stack is a z-stack. Just think about that as my view. I could have written anything, okay? The outer z-stack is what's going to put the sliding menu underneath our let's say, foreground view, okay? So now let's go back here and let's see what else we have. Now inside, for the inner contents, I'm going to create another v-stack, okay? And what this v-stack inside will have, so if we go right, v-stack, okay, I'm going to put a text inside, or sorry, an image, okay? And the image will be system name, okay? And it'll be ellipses, okay? Then I'm going to put a spacer so I can shove it to the top, okay? And then I'm going to also put the entire thing in an H stack. I'll just put this inside an H stack is what I should say. So embed in H stack, okay? Spacer underneath so that it gets shoved to the left, okay? And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take, I'm going to put some padding on that ellipses, okay? So dot padding. Okay, that looks a little more reasonable. Okay, and then I'm going to go to the to this z stack here. I'm going to say dot edges ignoring, okay, dot all. And I did that because I want this to fill up the entire screen. Okay. Now, when I do that, you'll see where this ended up. This ellipses ended up all the way up here. So in this v-stack, if you want to start programming around this safe area, okay, what you can do is you can actually just put a spacer above it, okay, but you give it a frame height, okay, and this is what I just found yesterday. It was UI application.shared.windows.first?safe-area-insets.top, okay. So what that's saying is we're going to put something that has we're going to give the spacer the exact height of the safe area inset up top. And there it is. That's perfect. That's exactly where it should be. Okay. And so what we can do with that now is we can close that up for a second. Okay. And then behind it, we can go ahead and create the sliding menu view. Okay. Now, looking back here, we need a couple other things. So where we put this edges ignoring all, okay, we need to take that edges ignoring all and underneath it put, we need to put the scale effect, an offset, okay, and an animation and a shadow. So what that is we're putting the scale effect, the offset, so to the right, the scaling down, and then we'll put the shadow and then we'll animate it, okay? So let's go ahead and put those in there. So here's our project that we're working on together. Okay, so I'll say dot scale effect. Okay, and then it wants to know how much we're going to scale it. And so we'll say if menu shown, so we're going to use the ternary operator. Menu shown, then it's going to be scaled down by 20%. And if it's not, then it won't be scaled at all. Okay, and then the next thing it'll change is the offset. So we'll say dot offset. Okay. And in the X dimension, if menu is shown, then we will offset it. What do we choose in this example? This was the one that you're viewing was offset by 200, okay? And if it's not shown, it won't be offset at all, okay? Then we're going to animate that. So we're going to do a dot animation, okay? And I'm going to do a dot ease in out, and I'm going to do 0.2 seconds, okay? So that's nice and smooth. Then I'll give the entire thing a shadow of radius 4. Okay? So now, it's great that we sat here and styled it, but we don't have any way to actually execute that. So the way we'll execute that is as follows. We'll turn the ellipses here. We'll grab that and we'll actually put that inside of a button. See if it'll let us embed it in a button. That's okay, it won't. So we can just go up here and grab a button. Okay, we can grab that image with its padding. And I'll replace the text button and put it right there, okay? And then for action, I will make the action of this button just be menu shown dot toggle, okay? So now when I click it, it should start doing exactly what we're asking it to do. It'll move off to the side like that, There it is, okay? And now here's the underlying menu. Now we haven't set up the menu yet. So let's just go back to the sliding menu view now, okay? And then instead of text hello world, let's put some other stuff in there. So looking here, we need to first, it needs to grab all the buttons, okay? So we'll say var buttons, okay, will be of type menu button, okay? I don't feel like putting my own sample data in here, so I'm just gonna go like that, okay? So I don't have to deal with the previewer. And then for the inside now, what we're gonna put is we're gonna put the following. First, we're gonna put that spacer that we created. Well, we're gonna make the entire thing ignore the edges, so edges ignoring safe areas everywhere, okay? So I'll say dot edges, or sorry, right here. I'm gonna make this a VStack. Okay, I'm gonna say dot edges ignoring, just put anything inside so that'll let us keep working. Okay, edges ignoring, okay, and I'm gonna put dot all, okay? And then the next thing we need to do is we need to actually run through all the buttons. So we'll say for button, or sorry, for each, okay? And we can say buttons, and it'll run through them. And it'll use their ID as the identifying item in there, and say this button in, so we can access each button inside the closure. And then what we'll do is we'll create this item right here. So it'll be a button, okay? And then we'll say, we'll use that right there. So this is how I like to execute, or how I like to create them. So button, action, and then I put that. So the action it'll execute is this button dot action, okay? And what it will look like inside, that's what I took the time to build in advance. It'll be just an HStack with the image and the text side by side, okay? And foreground color of black and a padding on the outside of the HStack. So HStack, okay, so image. And the image will be system name. Okay, and the system name will be this button dot sf symbol. Okay, and then it'll be text, and it'll just say this button dot text. Okay, this one will be dot padding on the outside of the HStack, and then lastly, it'll say foreground color of dot black. Okay. So now if I go over here to this content menu and hit resume, let's see what we got. Well, we still don't have anything, right? Because what we need to do is we need to actually send the proper things over. We need to say that the menu buttons we're sending over are buttons. Okay, so now that we've sent the buttons over, if we go back here, it's now taking those buttons into, so the buttons are being passed into here and being read into the for each, okay? So let's go here and look at this previewer again. It's just kind of struggling here. Just to make sure we didn't miss anything, we'll read back through this. So that looks about right. Actually, you'll notice what we'll see. Let's just kill this viewer here. Let's go back here for a second and we'll just put some other pieces that were really crucial. Okay, so this VStack, above the for each, it needed that spacer again. So we're going to put that spacer. This one right here where we said spacer.frame of height UI application shared window first, safe area insets top. So I'm going to grab that, I'm going to put it on top of the for each. Okay, so that was a big one. Okay, so we had the HStack and a VStack and spacer for each. The other thing we need to do is we need to put that whole VStack into an HStack, okay? And we're going to do that so that way we can shove the entire thing to the left. Okay. So now we'll just put the entire thing in a spacer. Put a spacer on the right, I mean. Save it. See if we can get this thing to run. Okay. So now when I click it, almost there, all right? Everything is here. And this might be the menu you want. Maybe you want it to be maybe you want it to look like this where it's in the center, okay? But what I wanted was I just wanted it to be a little higher up. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to put one more spacer at the bottom right after this for each. Okay? Now, when I go look at it again, I click on it, oh, it's still there. Run it on the canvas, you'll find that for some reason it's giving it's kind of creating a funky appearance. So if I were to run this again, if I go to Content View and run it, oh, there it is. Now it's working, but sometimes it'll look a little funny on the canvas. If you have any doubt that something looks wrong on the canvas, but you think that you wrote it right, then right now it's working fine. What I would try is I would just try running it in the simulator and making sure everything looks good in the simulator. This is a lot truer to what the actual design will look like, so it's definitely your best bet. But yeah, so everything looks good. So this is how we want it to be. So just make sure that you have the proper spacers in place to push everything to the left and then upwards. And that's that. So if you have any questions, please shoot me a message in the comments below. Otherwise, you can check out the code online. I'll have a link in the description. Thanks.